I want to talk about the difference between period poverty and universal access. Universal access would be in the public washrooms, in the schools. The NDP have actually introduced a bill, so that would represent universal access. And now period poverty is, people not being able to afford the products. Now, Kristen, do you think universal access will help period poverty?
Of course, because if people have access to hygiene products elsewhere, they won't have to be using their own personal supply.
That's right. Now so the NDP have introduced that bill, but there's another bill as well, and the PCs, the Conservatives, have introduced this bill, and is asking for additional funding for individuals on social assistance. What do you think about that? Do you think that would be a good step in helping solve period poverty in Nova Scotia? A little bit like.
Yeah, actually, probably. Well, I think it'll help a little bit because I think people are. Yeah, they're taking that money from their food and putting it in period. In a sense, I suppose. So if they can get it for free at their own home, as opposed to going to the mall to go get some pads or tampons, that would probably help a lot. I did see some statistics, and they said that on TV. They were saying like the average woman spends $30 to $50 a year on sanitary napkins.
Oh, really?
And I chuckled because I thought the only people that would believe that would be single young men, because that comes into your grocery money and your husband understands that and you understand that. So
where did that come from, right? Because normally, well, Kristen, you have two daughters,
Mm-hmm.
so you're spending probably $30 a month.
Oh yeah,
right?
Easy. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing too. We have universal access. That's going to cover all the public washrooms. So if you're stopped or if you need a little help at your workplace, you're going to have it. And then we have additional funding. Hopefully that'll go through for those on social assistance. But we still have this big gap between how do we help the working poor? How do we address period poverty for those that work? Now they can come to the food bank. We're at St. Paul's Family Institute food bank at the moment. So individuals can come here and ask for the products. But other than that, how can we reach people with period poverty? How can we help them other than universal access at their schools, for example? Because schools are going to be closed in summertime. Schools are closed on weekends, so individuals can't have access to the ones that's in the bathroom. So how do we reach those, like the working class? How do we reach those people with period poverty? Do you have any ideas, any suggestions?
No.
And everyone I talk to, we all come to the same thing. We don't know because they have to out themselves when they come to the food bank, right?
No.
I was just to say, I think stigma is a big thing, probably. Just because you had said the working poor, so I have a job, so
Yeah.
I really am not going to call social assistance or the food bank to ask for my pads or my tampons. So that has to be addressed first before people decide that they're actually going to go and get them from free for somewheres.
Yeah,
So.
because it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. Because I know when I went through period poverty, when I was on social assistance in 2015, I was mortified. I would not ask for help. Now I have no issues talking about it. Now that I work here at the food bank with you guys, I try to encourage people, like don't be shy, don't be embarrassed, that's what we're here for. But to actually ask for it, that's a big thing for a lot of people. And we're all struggling on how do we help those that work that don't have access to social assistance, so that you wouldn't be covered under that bill. It definitely will help with universal access because you can get it at the workplace or you can get it in the school or the mall. But how else do we reach out to those people other than food banks?
I don't know, but I think you're going to be hard pressed to believe that adding more money to income assistance checks that are going to be spent on hygiene products.
That's
when people have barely enough money to access to pay their rent and their food and medications.
that's a good point.
They are,
And communications, whatever it is, their phone, their TV, their.
which is also essential service for a lot of people because it's their one connection to internet or to job searching or to their social worker if they need to report anything. They need to have that phone, or to healthcare, or to like 911 or 211 or whatever.
Yeah.
I would be hard pressed to believe that any amount of money added to an income assistance check will be sufficient enough to alleviate that period poverty anyway.
That's an excellent point, Kristen, because the rates right now is only $275 a month. So individuals are robbing Peter to pay Paul type thing because they don't have enough money to pay anything. So with Bill 126, it would be additional funding. So right now it's not great, but you would have to apply for it. But like you're saying, that money might go towards a bill that, like their hydro bill that's 2 months past. It might go towards food. Like when I was on assistance, I got $56 a month for groceries. So individuals still might resort to toilet paper or socks because they feel toothpaste or food is more important,
Yes.
right? So definitely we need to pick apart the rates. Hygiene poverty. That's one of my next projects.
I know.
Because we can't afford tampons, we can't afford deodorant, we can't afford garbage bags, toothpaste. But definitely a fantastic point to bring up the rates. The rates are well below, and we need more. We need more work done on that. Okay, so last question before we shut off here. Do you have any additional remarks, any additional suggestions on what should be done with period poverty or with universal access or anything like that? Like with different organizations, what they do, like anything do you think that could help with it? It's a hard question, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because you're
If the income assistance rates were equitable and fair, than they are right now, I don't think this would even be an issue. People would be able to afford all their hygiene products and for anything, whether they're pads, deodorants, shampoo, laundry soap, incontinence pads, like any of it and all of it.
That's right.
They would be able to buy it and be sufficient on their own.
That's right. If the rates were higher, because right now, the way society is, we all are. We depend on charity for our basic rights. And if we had more money in our pockets, then we wouldn't have to depend on charity. We could go out and do it ourselves. So if the rates were higher and people had, the self respect of living a decent life, then they could go out and